The Hug, written and illustrated by Regina Sparrow. Once there was a hug. The hug was looking for someone to hug. The hug looked all around, but everyone was too busy to hug. The flies were busy buzzing, birds were busy flying, cats were prowling, dogs were fetching, whales were swimming, and people were very busy multitasking. The hug became a lonely hug because it wanted to share itself with someone. The hug was sad. The hug sat alone in its house. It decided to hug itself. The hug wrapped its arms around itself and gave a good squeeze, patting and rocking itself. As the hug hugged itself, it became happier and happier. The hug became so happy that it started to grow. The hug enjoyed hugging so much, it looked for something else to hug. The hug felt the puffy cushions it was sitting on and hugged the couch. The hug hugged its bed and continued to grow. The hug hugged everything in its house and grew bigger and bigger. The hug outgrew its house. It gave its great big home a great big hug and kept growing. The hug fluffed up to the size of the city. The hug gave the city and all of its neighbors a sweet squish and kept growing. The hug became so big it was the size of the entire state. It hugged its state and happily felt the warmth of appreciation glowing inside its chest as it kept growing. The hug loved and hugged the trees and plants, amoebas and insects, animals and people, all in the same glorious moment. The hug was so happy because it was doing what it was born to do. The hug became as large as the whole nation, gave the country a patriotic hug, and kept growing. The hug became as enormous as a continent. The more it hugged, the happier and bigger it grew. The hug was now as massive as the whole entire ocean. The hug was ecstatic. It gave the ocean an enthusiastic, splashy hug, and the hug kept growing. The hug became so big, so large, so grandiose, that it was the size of the entire earth. The hug cared for the land, felt the ground between its fingers, clasped it, and kept growing. The hug was the happiest it had ever been, giving the earth a giggly jiggly hug and floating in space, surrounded by sparkling dots of starlight. Even as the hug slept, it gave the earth a snuggly, cuddly hug. One day, the hug felt something warm around it. What the hug had thought was space was actually an endless hug. There were other hugs there too, big and happy. All along, the hug had been hugged by the space around it, but did not notice because it was too busy wanting to hug and be hugged. The hug hugged and was being hugged. It was perfect, calm, peace, and pleasure. Just being hugged. Activities. Hug yourself. How does it feel? Describe your feelings. What makes you happy? Do a happy dance. While reading the hug yourself every time the hug hugs something. How many times does the hug in the story hug something? If a hug were a creature, what would it look like? Draw your own idea of a hug. Is it always appropriate to hug someone? When is it appropriate to hug? When is it inappropriate to hug? Who are appropriate people to hug? Receive permission from someone before you hug them. Ask, "Can I give you a hug?" If you don't want to hug, you can say, "No hug, thank you. Please don't hug me right now." Or, "I don't want a hug, thank you." What are different ways that people greet each other? A bow, a wave, a hug, and what? What words do diverse cultures use to greet one another? Hola, aloha, shalom, and what? What ways do people comfort each other? A pat on the back, kind words, and what else? What words are comforting? I'm sorry, you're great. What else? What are you thankful for? Name 3 things you care about. What do you like about the special things you listed? What are 3 things that bother you? Why do they bother you? What is an appropriate way to react to things that bother you? What stops you from feeling happy? What can you do to make yourself happy? What is a nice way to let someone know that you have a need that's not being met? How do you behave in a thankful way? What do you feel? Where do you feel appreciation in your body? Is it in your heart, your belly, your legs, or where? What does appreciation feel like? Is the feeling warm, open, light, or what? What's the texture of appreciation? Is it soft, fluffy, spiky, or what? What is the color and temperature of thankfulness in your body? Is it bright green, dark purple, hot, cold, or what? What does love feel like? Describe how it feels. Draw what it looks like. What does love sound like? When you give love, does it feel differently than when you receive love? Describe your feelings when you give and receive love. What can you do to show someone that you love them? Relaxation. Get comfortable. Breathe slowly and deeply. Close your eyes. Focus on the sensation of your skin. Bring your attention to the top of your head. Relax all of the muscles in your body from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. Imagine a place where you are happy, real or imagined. What sounds, smells, and colors are in your perfect place? Breathe in that happy feeling from your perfect place. Open your eyes and keep that perfect, peaceful feeling from your perfect place. Come along on a journey of personal growth with the hug as it finds the secrets to love, happiness, and peace. As the hug grows from a small sad hug to a huge happy hug, it finds everything it ever wanted and needed was always there, perfect for little ones and adults alike. Activities in the back pages help readers get more from this book. Regina Sparrow is an artist, author, and educator with a master's degree in teaching along with 2 teaching credentials. She has taught all grade levels over her 15 years as a teacher. She is currently conducting PhD research on why art exists and applying it to improving education. This book is dedicated to my brother, sisters, nieces, and nephews. I live in gratitude of their love, which has made my life worth living. Also, to the love of my life, Darren Woody Woodworth, and all the people who've contributed to my personal growth. Special thanks to my fantastic editor, Megan Crawford, without whom this book would not be possible. The Hug, copyright 2017 by Regina Rizzo. All rights reserved under Universal Copyright Conventions. No part of this book may be used or reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any manner whatsoever without prior written permission of the copyright owner, except in the case of brief quotations embedded in critical articles and reviews. For information regarding permissions or information, contact regina.sparrow@yahoo.com. Vallejo, California.